Hello everyone and welcome to yet another deck profile, and today we're gonna be looking at the list that won the Perth Regionals this last weekend, and that is the Gardevoir EX. So, for our Pokemon, we have 4 Teleportation Burst Ralts, we have 4 Refinement Kirlias, we have 2 Gardevoir EX, we have 2 Munkidori to spread the damage onto the opponents, we have 1 Screamtail to snipe the bench, 1 Flutter Mane to shut down your opponent's active Pokemon's ability, 1 Klefki to shut down all basics ability, 1 Drifloon for the high damage output, 1 Tatsugiri to snipe out our supporters, and 1 Manaphy to protect our bench. For our items, we have 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffin, we have 3 of the Ultra Ball, we have 2 Earthen Vessel, we got 2 Counter Catcher, sorry, we have 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Super Rod, 1 Unfair Stamp, and 1 Heavy Ball. For our supporters, we have 4 Iono, we have 4 Arven, 1 Turo, and 1 Boss. For our Pokemon tools, we have 2 TM Evos, we have 2 Bravery Charms. For our stadiums, we have 2 Artazon. And for our energy counts, we have 3 Dark Energies. And we have no less than 7 basic Psychic Energies. So let's talk a little bit about the interesting inclusions and exclusions in this list. One thing that I found particularly interesting is the lack of Radiant Greninja. Some people really like it because you get the energies in the discard fast and you get the draw support from it. Some people don't like it because you can't accelerate energies to it because of Gardevoir's ability, because it can only accelerate to Psychic types. So that's definitely one of the interesting inclusions. The second one that's also very interesting is the use of the Unfair Stamp. Why is this one so interesting? Because Gardy tends to play 3 of A specs. It can either play the Hyper Aroma, it can play the Precious Trolley, or the Unfair Stamp. And I think the Trolley is one of the more interesting cards to have, actually. But this deck actually relies on the Unfair Stamp, which is also a very interesting choice. And yeah, that's it for the inclusions. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about matchups. And Gardy is a deck that is very versatile, and it's an archetype that has existed for a long time and probably will exist all until rotation. Why? Because this deck is like many other decks in this meta at the moment. It's very versatile into so many matchups, and it has so many ways on how to play it. For example, one of the matchups that is actually very good for the Gardevoir, especially this build with the 2 Munkidori, it's actually one of the better matchups is actually the Dragapult EX. Why? Because Dragapult has to spread 60 damage onto your bench, and you can just use both of the Munkidori to just pop the damage back onto them. And also with that, the Drifloon has a 1-hit knockout potential. You also have a Night Stretcher to get it back in to your hand, so you can attack twice onto their 2 active Dragapult EXs, so that's actually 4 prizes with one single 1 prizer, which is kind of insane. Another matchup that's actually good is actually the control matchup, in my opinion, because they can while they can trap you in the active, you still have attack potential, especially with this build, with basically every Pokemon that you have. You can attack with Screamtail, Gardy, Drifloon, Kirlia, Ralts, anything. You can attack with anything you can get rid of. For example, the Water Ogre Pond, which is really nice. You have so much versatility. Another one that is very good for Gardy is the Lugia matchup, which is, Gardy just sort of works very well into it because you have your main attackers are the single prizers. You have a lot of draw support from your Kirlias, so that makes the matchup actually pretty good. And another one, let's mention one that's particularly difficult for Gardy is the Quad Thorns, because the Quad Iron Thorns deck can shut off your Gardevoir's ability, but that's why we have both Klefki and Flutter Mane and Heavy Ball to get either of them out of the prizes, to put in the active, to accelerate energy, to do everything that Gardevoir does oh so well. And another thing about this build is the two TM evolutions. Why? Because we have two TM evolutions, we tend to want to go second, which is great in this current meta because everyone except for, I don't know, Raging Bolt wants to go second. You want to go first, you want to go second in this build. Why? You put two Ralts on the bench, you play the Arven to get two Ralts with the Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and you get the TM Evo, you attach an energy, use the TM Evo on both Ralts, you have two Kirlias in play in turn 1, which is insane, and it gives you so much draw support that is just crazy, to be honest. And so the list apparently did also very well into the Regidragos. That's a matchup that I did not test a lot with Gardevoir or with Regidrago, to be honest. Regidrago, yeah. And it's actually a matchup that, because of they tend to like to use the Dragapult, you have the same perks as you had before with the Dragapult EX. You just put damage back onto them and attack for knockouts with the Drifloons. And the only thing that can be kind of tricky is if they pull an early game Kyurem to you. That's why we have the Manaphy to prevent this from happening. So they have to get the Manaphy onto the active and find the cancelling cologne, get the Kyurem in the discard, have the Vista ready, and you have to have basically an empty board. So it's a very difficult thing to pull off for the Regidrago V player, while we can put a Manaphy down fairly easily, to be honest, unless it's priced, but we still have Heavy Ball, which we can get from Arven, which we run 4 of. So it's a bit of a more 50-50 matchup. And one more difficult matchup, at least when I played Gardevoir a while ago, the matchup that I really couldn't pull through was the Ancient Box. Why? Because the tiny Roaring Moons, they hit for weakness and they get to that magical number 160 damage with only 9 cards in their discard pile, 9 ancient cards, which is extremely fast, especially if they run like they play one Explorer's Guidance, they toss 4 ancient cards plus this one, and it's already 5 ancient cards in the discard pile. And they play also 1 Earthen Vessel, discard, I don't know, a capsule, and it's already 7. They pull that off again and it's already 9, and it's a knockout on the big Gardevoir. So it can be very, very tricky, and they also consist just out of single prizers, so that's what makes this matchup also very, very difficult. And I'm not sure how to tackle this one. I mean, you have to have a little bit of luck. So that was the deck profile for the winning deck of this weekend. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.